He was 13, and he defeated a full-grown warrior in single combat. No armor. No fame. Just a wooden sword, and an unshakable will. This is the story of Miyamoto Musashi. The most feared swordsman in Japan's history. A man who walked alone. Who never knelt. Who fought 61 duels, and never lost. He would shape not only the art of the sword, but the soul of the warrior. The year was 1596. Japan was raw and restless, still reeling from civil war. Warlords ruled from mountaintop castles, and honor was bought and broken on the edge of a blade. In a quiet village surrounded by pine and mist, a boy stood barefoot in the dirt. His name, Shinmen Takizo. He would later be known as Musashi. Across from him, a grown samurai named Arima Kihei adjusted his robes. He sneered at the boy, insulted at being challenged by someone barely past childhood. Villagers gathered. Some whispered warnings. Others watched in silence. Takizo gripped his bakken, a simple wooden sword, and said nothing. Kihei charged. A blur of movement. A thunder crack of wood on skull. The man hit the ground and didn't rise. The boy turned and walked away. That moment became legend. The birth of a warrior. Musashi left home with nothing. No lord. No coin. No map. Just a sword, a name, and a hunger to grow stronger. He became a ronin, a masterless warrior, wandering from province to province. Through rain-soaked rice fields, across jagged coastlines, and into smoky dueling grounds, he sought out fighters to test his skill. Some came with spears. Others with blades passed down for generations. All fell. He fought not for fame, but for understanding. Every duel was a question. Every swing, an answer. He wrote nothing. He taught no students. He walked alone. But whispers of the man who never lost spread like wildfire. Most samurai fought with one blade. Musashi broke the mold. He trained his body to use both hands, one sword in each. A short and a long blade moving as one. Fast. Unpredictable. Deadly. He called it the two heavens style. It would later be known as Nitten Ichiryu. It wasn't just about muscle. It was about rhythm. About seeing not where your enemy stood, but where they would be. Musashi became a storm in human form. Calm, patient, and then sudden as lightning. In Kyoto, the proud Yoshioka clan ruled the martial arts world. Rich, powerful, arrogant. Musashi challenged them. And he won. Then they sent another. And he won again. So they sent the youngest heir, with dozens of warriors in hiding, ready to ambush him. Musashi showed up early. Took the fight before they were ready. Won. Again. And walked away. No army. No allies. Just timing, skill, and nerves of steel. April 13, 1612. A rocky island in the sea. The waves crashed. Gulls screamed overhead. Musashi stepped onto the shore, carrying a wooden sword he carved from an or during the boat ride. Waiting for him was Sasaki Kojiro, a master swordsman known for his long blade and lightning speed. Charismatic. Elegant. Deadly. Their duel was the stuff of legend. Kojiro drew first. Fast as a flash. Musashi stayed still. Watching. Then, one step forward, one strike, and it was over. Musashi had arrived late on purpose, to unnerve his opponent. He used the sun. The surf. The silence. And with one blow, he sealed his greatest victory. He had nothing left to prove. Musashi retired to a cave. There, surrounded by stone and solitude, he wrote his life's philosophy. Not just about swordsmanship, but about life itself. The book was called the Book of Five Rings. Its lessons would outlive empires. Control. Presence. Timing. Clarity. He died as he lived, unbeaten. Alone. At peace. Today, Musashi is more than a warrior. He's a symbol. Of discipline. Of courage. Of walking your own path. His story lives in manga. Movies. Museums. In every tale where a lone fighter stands tall against the odds. He wasn't born a hero. He became one. Through struggle. Through sweat. Through sheer will. The man who never lost still teaches us how to win. After his first duel, Musashi did not return to the quiet village of his childhood. He vanished into the forests, walking alone beneath cedar trees and moonlit skies. At just 16, he was already a name whispered with awe and fear. He slept under trees, ate what he could hunt, and trained his body until it felt like steel wrapped in flesh. Villagers saw a ghost in rags pass their homes at dawn, leaving only footprints and silence. To Musashi, comfort was weakness. He didn't want a lord. He didn't want gold. He wanted truth, the kind only found in the heat of battle. Kyoto was a city of art and war. Between temples and tea-houses stood schools of swordsmanship, each claiming to hold the perfect style. Musashi walked in unannounced. He fought students first. Then instructors. Then the masters themselves. In a single season, he defeated 10 different dojos. Not with grace, but with grit, timing, positioning, and raw instinct. He often came late to duels, making opponents wait in the heat or rain. It threw them off. He fought dirty by noble standards. But he fought smart. And he won. At night, Musashi practiced by lantern light. His sword danced in slow, deliberate arcs, one blade, then two. His breath matched the wind. His feet whispered across stone. He didn't see swordsmanship as violence. He saw it as a mirror. In every duel, he faced his opponent, but he also faced himself. He began writing, notes tucked in scraps of cloth and bamboo scrolls. Thoughts on timing. Movement. The space between moments. The silence before action. He wasn't building a style. He was shaping a way of being. The Yoshioka clan, humiliated by past defeats, wanted revenge. They lured Musashi to Ichijoji, promising a fair duel. Instead, over 70 men lay in wait. He showed up early, again. And struck with the fury of a thunderstorm. He moved like smoke through trees, cutting down attackers one by one. He used terrain, timing, and terror. When it ended, the Yoshioka name was shattered. And Musashi? He vanished once more, leaving only the echo of steel. In the years that followed, Musashi's legend grew. He fought warriors on bridges, in bamboo groves, even on boats drifting downriver. Each duel was different. Each opponent, a lesson. He began drawing, not landscapes or portraits, but the flow of movement. Arcs, spirals, crashing angles. He saw swordplay as calligraphy in motion. And as his body aged, his mind sharpened. He learned to end fights before they began. To read the twitch of a shoulder, the hesitation in breath. Musashi was no longer just a fighter. He was becoming something more. Musashi didn't invent the two-sword style overnight. It came from years of pain, precision, and practice. He watched the way birds fought in the air. How a storm would strike from two directions. He trained until one hand moved like lightning and the other like thunder, perfectly synced. In time, it became more than a method. It became a philosophy. Two swords. One spirit. A way to balance chaos with calm. He called it two heavens as one. And no one had ever seen anything like it. Across the sea cliffs of Bison province, a name rose to rival Musashi's. Sasaki Kojiro. Elegant. Precise. A master of the swallow cut, a technique so fast it was said to strike twice in a single motion. Where Musashi was raw, Kojiro was refined. Where Musashi was rough-edged, Kojiro was polished like glass. The people called for it. The lords encouraged it. Musashi vs. Kojiro. The greatest duel Japan would ever see. The duel was set on a remote island off the coast. Kojiro arrived early, blade gleaming, dressed in silk robes. He stood tall beneath the rising sun, his long sword strapped to his back like a banner of pride. Hours passed. No Musashi. The tide shifted. The wind picked up. Kojiro's patience wore thin. Then, oars against waves. Musashi arrived. Late, as always. Calm. Barefoot. Holding a wooden sword carved from the boat's oar. Kojiro's eyes narrowed. Musashi only nodded. The duel began. Kojiro struck first, fast, fluid, fierce. The air sang with the sound of steel. But Musashi had already seen it in his mind. The arc. The footwork. The rhythm. He sidestepped, pivoted, then brought the oar down with a single, sweeping strike. Kojiro staggered. Silence. Then the splash of waves. It was over. The crowd, hidden in the cliffs, gasped in awe. Musashi bowed once, then walked back to his boat without a word. He didn't celebrate. He didn't boast. Because to him, victory was not a moment. It was a path. The duel made him immortal. But immortality didn't interest Musashi. He faded from public view, retreating into the mountains. There, among stone walls and quiet streams, he began to write, capturing everything he had learned. Swordsmanship. Strategy. Spirit. The result would become one of the most respected texts in warrior culture, the Book of Five Rings. But Musashi wasn't done yet. His next battle wouldn't be fought with swords. It would be fought within. Far from the noise of cities and courts, Musashi found his final battlefield, not of stone or blood, but of spirit. In the cliffs of Kyushu, near a quiet temple, he entered a small cave called Ryugando. No luxuries. No followers. Just ink, parchment, and silence. There, he began his last work, a guide for those who sought not just to fight, but to master life itself. He called it the Book of Five Rings. The 5 scrolls were not just about combat. They were about rhythm, perception, and adaptability. The Earth Scroll taught grounding, stability, balance. The Water Scroll spoke of fluidity, of bending without breaking. The Fire Scroll was direct, engage, strike, dominate. The Wind Scroll observed other schools, their flaws and strengths. And the Void? It taught the hardest lesson, to move without attachment, to act without thought, to be everything, and nothing. Each word was written with care, each idea tested in the furnace of 1,000 battles. In his final years, Musashi turned to painting, sculpture, and poetry. His brush strokes mirrored his sword, bold, deliberate, controlled. He painted birds mid-flight, monks in meditation, dragons rising from waves. Not to impress, but to express what could no longer be said with steel. To Musashi, art and combat were the same. Each demanded presence. Each revealed truth. As illness crept into his bones, Musashi prepared. He dressed in white. Sat upright with his sword beside him. Faced the morning light. And waited. No fear. No regret. Just stillness. He left behind no empire, no fortune. Only a path. A path others would follow for centuries. Musashi's sword is long gone. His cave is silent. But his teachings remain as sharp as ever. Today, the Book of Five Rings is read not just by martial artists, but by leaders, entrepreneurs, and creators around the world. Because Musashi didn't write about violence, he wrote about clarity, timing, strategy, and the importance of mastering the self. To him, combat was a metaphor. Every strike was a decision. Every duel, a test of discipline. Those who read his words today still find lessons in the space between them. In Japan, Musashi's image appears in museums, novels, anime, and films. He's more than a man, he's an idea. A symbol of fearlessness and relentless improvement. To artists, he's a master of presence. To athletes, he's a blueprint for mental toughness. To anyone standing alone, against the odds, he's proof that solitude can shape greatness. His grave in Kumamoto draws quiet visitors. Some come with books. Others with swords. All come with respect. In boardrooms and battlefields, in classrooms and on stages, Musashi's influence stretches far beyond the mountains of Kyushu. He reminds us that the biggest fight isn't with the world, it's with doubt. That true mastery is not about winning once, but about refining forever. His path wasn't easy. It wasn't safe. But it was true. And in every generation, someone picks up that path again. Musashi never asked for followers. He didn't crave fame. He only asked one thing, to walk the path with your eyes open and your spirit unshaken. If you felt inspired by his story, by the fire, the stillness, and the sword, subscribe to this channel. More legends await. Until then, walk your path. Alone, if you must. But never without purpose.